Well, it's been some time since I've done anything similar to this. In fact, it's been almost 6 years since I made that infamous Derek Savage response. That's a video that doesn't hold up, but a lot of people still liked it. How about I bring back that type of video while also taking some inspiration from the series of critique videos done by fellow friend and colleague, Spacey McSpacer. Introducing Numen Strikes Back, a series in which I respond to and critique other videos, whether they are bad takes, someone acting like a jackass, or just a viewpoint that I so happen to respect but wholeheartedly disagree with and want to give my counter viewpoint to. Man, I really need to work on this intro bit. I may be somewhat harsh, and well, I'll definitely be very snarky, but please keep in mind, this is all out of a place of constructive criticism and not just to belligerently attack someone. Don't want to make the same mistake I did 6 years ago, and it would be really hypocritical given the subject of today's video. Yeah, the specific upload I'm targeting in question did really motivate me to revive this type of content, because it really drove me up the wall on my first time watching it. This upload is from Zim92. But before I get into that, I feel context is important, specifically regarding the elephant in the room, or more so, the Lombax in the room. That being Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, personally being someone who's been a fan of the series since 2013, though I don't really talk about it that often, this is a game I really look forward to playing someday soon. I say someday soon because I don't have the mythical console it's on. I'm trying to keep myself as unspoiled as possible, but looking at all these pre-release stuff, this looks like it'll be the freshest take on the series yet. Leading up to the release of this game was a lot of hype from fans. Well, of course. But also given the franchise's track record post A Crack in Time, especially taking into account the mediocre 2016 reboot, there are fans that were understandably skeptical. Thus, we enter Tactical Bacon Productions, and the 2 videos he's made stating his concern for Rift Apart. Though we are only acknowledging the second one since it's vital to this video, though I disagree with many of his complaints for Rift Apart, he does present himself in a well-done and healthy manner. Well, mostly. He even has some good points, but many of the things he said are pretty flawed. There is one particular point he makes regarding a former writer for the game, and well, I'll get into that can of worms later on. But then, who comes to the stand next is big-name Ratchet speedrunner Zim92, who does a reaction to both of Bacon's videos. His critique of the first one is alright, but then you have his critique of the second video. And oh goodness gracious, it's really hard to sit through. His approach to critiquing the video is downright egregious, and he resorts to rather inane and petty conclusions, even going as far as to twisting some of Bacon's statements. Now, I've seen some of Zim's other stuff, and in any of his other uploads, he does come off as a rather fun, charismatic, and decent individual. Hell, he even did a response to the Gaming Brits video on RNC3, and in the bits and pieces I've seen of that, he does come off as fair and reasonable. Okay, so I should address this. While preparing the script, Zim took it upon himself to enlist the video. Usually in a situation like this, I would be apprehensive about continuing with production. However, judging from a tweet he made regarding it, it seems to be less out of an understanding of where he went wrong, and more out of a place of brand reputation. Because accountability is a frickin' joke, am I right? There is such an egotistical aura to his statements regarding this, and pretty much exemplifying a I'm always right mentality. With that said, I want to make it clear that this is not an attack on his character. This is more so a critique and dissection of his critique. The main purpose here is to give constructive criticism and call out the way he twists the words and misconceives Tactical Bacon Productions. Regardless, let's get on with the show, and rip this video a new one.
What did you just say to me?
R-Y-N-O. Rip ya a new one.
Why you should still be wary of Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, a final look. This one's 40 minutes long. Dear Lord. I don't know if I'm going to have the patience to watch a full 40 minutes, but we can at least hop around a bit.
Well, I can definitely say the average attention span sure has gone down. Hey, I'm totally no exception to this. Whenever I write these scripts, I always find myself getting up and pacing around every 10 words. Putting that aside, if you can spend more than an hour in discussing and dissecting the Gaming Brits Ratchet 3 video, or alternatively, if you can spend a good amount of time in grinding for bolts and Battalia in RNC1, I'm sure you can sit through this just fine. What I find interesting is that you literally just said that you don't have the patience to sit through the video. You even said that you just hop around the video. That's bad, because by doing so you risk the possibility of cutting out context on certain points that were made. This leads me to ask, why even bother if you're not gonna take the time to listen and understand his points? It's almost like you're doing this out of a petty fanboyistic reasons. But hey, it's not like this will devolve into personal attacks and slander, right? Also, one thing to take note of is that he's doing a blind reaction to the video, on the spot, during a live stream, which means he probably isn't prepared to properly digest and respond to the points being made. Granted, it's possible to react to something blind and still give a valid response, but in this instance, that's not the case. In fact, as the video goes on, this proves to bite Zim in the ass on a few occasions.
The comments I got were somewhat mixed, shall we say. But there were some things that do genuinely need to be cleared up.
Bro, you basically said that you're gonna stab the developers in their sleep. Of course the comments are gonna be mixed.
First of all...
Ooh, what? Are we gonna play this game now? On God? Well, okay then. Riddle me this, Batman. When the fuck did he ever say this at all in the previous video? I went back to watch that video, and he didn't say anything close to that. At most, he told Insomniac not to drop the ball, which is pretty damn tame, all things considered. If we're gonna resort to lying, then that already shows the true intention of this reaction.
Oh, there's this weird misconception that I said this game's going to suck. I never said that. At worst, I said it...
You spent like 5 straight minutes talking about how you predict it's going to be like a terrible game. You were like, now I don't think this game is going to be terrible, but I do think it's going to have all the things that made the Future series bad, and it's going to be as bad as 2016, and it's going to be bad.
And what point are you even trying to make here? So here we have you simplifying the entire point of the previous video. The entire purpose of the last video was to say his concerns. He didn't even outright say that it was gonna be bad. At most, he only really predicted things that the game might do. Keyword being predicted. Also, I'm pretty sure he said that he liked the Future series in spite of their flaws. So, yeah.
Seriously? No, seriously. How the hell could you even get that from my video? I've never owned an Xbox in my life. You know, people can be critical of various things without having an ulterior motive, just because you don't like what you're doing.
Bro, this dude is like going off for the first 2 minutes about YouTube comments. Dude, just stop. Just hold the L. Just hold it. The longer you talk, the more you self-own.
Okay. And? Why is that even an issue? The point of the video is to, again, explain his viewpoint. So of course he's gonna make mention of the comments that try to counter his points. Especially the ones with flawed arguments like, it's just for kids, or you're an Xbox fanboy. I fail to see how this is self-owning, when this is literally a discussion video. He's gonna mention comments. That's what most discussion-based YouTubers do anyway. It's like you're looking for things to complain about.
But really, the fact that you can say anything positive you want at any point, but can't say anything negative about it until you've played it, says it all. It's not about who has or hasn't played it, it's all about making excuses to debunk any...
Bro, no one is like holding a gun to your head because of your opinions. We just want, like, if you're gonna make a YouTube video why I think this game might suck, of course people are gonna be like, I don't know, man, I think it looks pretty good. Like, of course people are gonna do that. What are you complaining about?
I don't want to repeat what I already previously said. but I might as well just say, dude, he can respond to comments if he wants. This is pretty much nitpicking, my guy. Nothing constructive is being provided here. Also, I really hate the whole "they're not holding a gun to your head" statement. It's such a nothing counter-argument that's only purpose is to disregard criticism. By your logic, I could say the same thing to you. Like, hey, Zim, my dude, my guy, you don't have to watch this dude's video. No one is, you know, holding a gun to your head or anything. I might as well say right now that I am not going to be responding to every point being made here, since some have little to no purpose outside of shit-talking or him repeating the same thing he already said earlier. Saying the same shit again and again and again.
Again and again and again.
I'd honestly feel like I'd be losing my mind.
Their problems. And if you can't be complacent and just take it as it is no matter how flawed, you can get bent.
The video, the first 2.5 minutes of this video has been him ranting about YouTube comments.
Nobody cares!
Yeah, sorry, but Czar, you create a feedback loop of toxic positivity where nothing can ever improve because no criticism can ever be brought up.
Toxic positivity. Ah, yes. I think the game looks pretty good. Excuse me, that's toxic positivity. Let me make sure I go to Insomniac's Twitter page and tell them over and over every single day what I want from them, because that's the only way anything's ever going to get done.
Fucking Christ. Fuck this shit. Wow. Way to miss the point, buddy. Saying you think something looks good isn't... This is so fucking stupid. Okay, look. Saying you think something looks good isn't toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is when you go out of your way to shut down any criticism, no matter how constructive it may be, while also belittling the person who said the argument, because how dare someone disagree with my viewpoint? You should only ever like everything a series puts out. In other words, and please forgive me for this overused clip, but it really fits the situation here.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Basically, this is the shit the Pac-Man fanbase loves to do. But I will agree that harassing corporate Twitter accounts over things you want is pretty cringe, and something that no one should do. But from what I've seen from Bacon, he doesn't really seem to be like that at all. Well, I assume anyway.
Improve. And you know, guys, when they were making the polio vaccine, I'm pretty sure nobody said, hey, let's just be happy with the way things are. If you don't like the way things are, that's your own fault.
Bro, slippery slope fallacy much. Like, holy... Oh my god, dude. What are you talking about? I think I should be criticizing a game that hasn't come out. Because if people didn't criticize polio... Like, bro.
The polio vaccine, I'm pretty sure nobody said, hey, let's just be happy with the way things are. If you don't like the way things are, that's your own fault.
Is he comparing himself to Jonas Salk's polio vaccine?
So, admittedly, yeah, that is a really dumb analogy to make. But it's just an analogy. It's not really that deep.
Are now in their 30s? Don't give me that crap. Once again, it's entirely possible to be well written enough to appeal to multiple age demographics, as everything pre-All for One did. Third of all, the it's for kids argument is a catch-22 of an argument as it is, because if it's for kids, then why do you care enough to defend it? You see why that's a flawed argument? You make it out like I shouldn't care because it's for kids, while showing that you yourself care as well.
Dude, they're trying to just get you to relax, buddy. Like, seriously, it's you know, weed is legal in a lot of states now. You are allowed to do something to just calm down. 4.5 minutes of this video on YouTube comments.
So, is it...
And here we have you saying something really dumb as a way of completely ignoring the point he's trying to make. Are we really gonna tell the dude to calm down when he's been explaining his viewpoint in a rather neutral nature? I mean, yeah, he's a bit stern, but he's not screaming like late 2000s, early 2010s angry reviewers. And this is definitely nothing like those Ratchet and Clank drift apart will kill gaming, don't buy it videos. Meanwhile, you're a bigger YouTuber, mindlessly attacking a smaller YouTuber, throwing personal insults at him throughout the video, and this is all over Ratchet and Clank. Also, do you really need to constantly bring up the fact that he's going over comments? You keep on bringing it up again and again. I mean, okay, what about it?
Plus, one thing that I definitely took note of was when they were showing off the weapon selection and said many new explosive weapons and a few returning classics.
You get to play with an explosive new arsenal, as well as a few returning classics.
So as I alluded to,
Did he just quote the thing and then play the thing? Oh man, that's a very minor grievance to have, but I just thought it was funny.
Well, at least you acknowledge that what you said was a nitpick, but even by nitpicking standards this is pretty dumb. He plays the clip after quoting it because that's him citing evidence to what he had brought up.
can't offer weapon variety. What else can this series really offer? Which is why the constant returning weapons were getting so frustrating, but there is some more to it. I feel the entire series from a
Go on.
presentation standpoint has
Here's a fun drinking game. Take a shot anytime this dude comes off as condescending. Actually, on second thought, maybe you shouldn't. You'd probably die before the video is even over. Notice how this guy has the exact same reaction to everything Bacon says. The same condescending reaction. Then he cuts him off before Bacon is able to back up his point and then says something really stupid. Yeah, this seems to be a really consistent thing throughout the course of the video. Don't get me wrong, I do see that he's trying to have fun here, but really, it just doesn't work.
been pretty much recycled ad nauseum since Tools of Destruction, because that was apparently when they decided the series had peaked. Not just in the weapons, but the way you move, the way the physics feel. Even a lot of the visual...
Bro, they didn't decide that Tools... Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. I hate when people extrapolate arguments like this. Like, they try to go for a thematic thing. It didn't work, but they still tried it. It's not that they decided the series peaked at Tools of Destruction. They just wanted to continue down the path of Tools of Destruction.
Hey, maybe you could, I don't know, let the dude finish his point before you respond to said point. I get where you're coming from, but at least let him finish what he's trying to say. Also, the series constantly reusing the base lineup from Tools of Destruction for each new game is honestly pretty lame. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Did you guys happen to notice that Ratchet in Rift Apart is wearing the exact same Tools of Destruction outfit again? How many times has he worn that outfit since Tools of Destruction? Basically, all I'm saying is I was getting sick of the entire series feeling the same since Tools of Destruction, and I want Rift Apart to feel different, much in the same way that the first 4 games felt different from each other. I also want the weapons to have some kick. One of my issues with the series since Tools of Destruction is that the weapons really don't have the same...
Dude, can you believe that Ratchet wears clothes? I can't believe it, frankly. It is ridiculous to me that Ratchet wears clothes.
Once again, you're pretty much simplifying Bacon's argument to a base level, while also being pretty damn obnoxious doing so. When you do shit like that, it's really hard to take you seriously. It's almost childish if I may. Absolute tomfoolery if I must. I may even go as far as to say it's straight monkey business. But I do have to point out that the whole complaint about Ratchet having the same outfit from Tools of Destruction is honestly kinda iffy. Though I understand the issue when looking at the whole picture of Bacon's complaint and on an overall basis of world building, but while the outfit is a bit overused, A Crack in Time and Into the Nexus both had unique base fits for Ratchet, exclusive to those games. This is also kind of ignoring the additional power armors each game introduces, so yeah, there's that.
Hopping.
This is exhausting to listen to, I'm not gonna lie. Do you guys want to keep watching this video, or do you want to move on? I like... We've already gone through 9.5 minutes of this crap, and I don't know, man. It's not crap. I don't want to be disrespectful. He's making a video because he's passionate about it. But I can't.
And here he decides to skip almost the entire middle portion of the video, which means he skipped past Bacon's statements regarding gameplay, the constant reuse of Dr. Nefarious, Rivet's potential portrayal, and the disregard of Angela, as well as the concern that Rivet could overshadow Ratchet, his issues with the writing, etc., etc. Granted, I lack the faith that he would probably counter these points and just resort to petty jabs, insults, and pretty much avoiding the overall conversation being had. That's how the entire reaction has been up to this point. A lot of people called him out on this in the comments section. He actually replied to one of them and gave a weak-ass excuse. So yeah, many of the points that are mentioned here were also in the previous video, and you did counter those points, but if you bothered to pay attention, you would know that he added on to those points given the context of what had been shown off at the time. That's not even going into the new points that are brought to the table. Also, if reasonably, albeit responding to comments in a discussion video is going off the rails, then shit man, I don't know what to say to that. This is just blowing shit out of proportion. When you responded to the previous video, there was still a little sense of that condescending attitude, but for the most part it seemed like you were coming from the purpose of actually providing discussion. But it's apparent that any pretense of a proper discussion is thrown right out the window, and that this comes from a place of fanboy-ism. A significantly bigger YouTuber, attacking and twisting the words of a smaller YouTuber who is simply just stating their concerns, and not just blindly liking everything he sees. This right here is toxic positivity. Keep in mind, I myself am really excited for Rift Apart, and I really want to play it! Yet even I can count this as a case of toxic positivity, and the overall toxic fanboyism. I could literally end the video here. However, I would be completely remiss if I decided to ignore what pops up next. And oh boy, this next part is quite a doozy.
I can't do it anymore. React to it, finish it. This is a video. I mean, there's plenty to react to. All right, how about we jump ahead? How about we jump ahead? Let's see if he makes any other. Wait, what?
Oh boy.
Why are there real people here? What is he doing? What is this segment?
Oh, I think, in theory, that's pretty cool, because who better to write a newly introduced female character than someone whose entire niche is female characters? In fact, I'm willing to bet Rivet was her idea, and that's great. We can never have enough strong women in media. But Sam Maggs has had some, shall we say, interesting takes in the past? Oh boy, none more so than, well...
Online, they can take your character, lock them in place, have made their character pantsless, and then can simulate sexual assault with your character, and you are helpless to stop it. You can hear the person on the other end who's saying these things directly to you, and they're saying them directly to you. That's a whole other level of harassment, really.
Okay, so, for the record, I've had a...
What?
Well, shit. Here it is. If you were ever aware of the situation, you were probably waiting for me to cover this specific section. If it hasn't been made really clear, the subject of sexual assault will be somewhat discussed. This is something I take really fucking seriously. Here is where I have to criticize both the videos, because this is easily the worst part of specifically Tactical Bacon's video. With Tactical Bacon, it is clear that his heart is in the right place, but this point was explained in a rather flawed and awkward manner. You'll see very soon. Meanwhile, with Zim, well, there is somewhat of an attempt to understand Bacon's point, but he just straight up simplifies and twists Bacon's words into something that they're not. This is very hard to really pick apart. Honestly, I feel like I'm walking around eggshells when it comes to this. Regardless, let's start with Bacon's initial statement. I'm gonna play the full clip since I feel that context is important. If you have... So, as I was editing this, a development had come up, specifically regarding Tactical Bacon Productions' video. He removed the section regarding Sam Maggs and issued a statement on his Twitter. Here's what he said. During this point, my initial intention was to call out Zim for basically twisting Bacon's words, while also criticizing the whole Sam Maggs portion of Bacon's video. With this development, however, I feel it's best to just cut it out entirely. If there is one thing I have to say, it's that the way Zim twisted Bacon's words into something that they're not, practically misrepresenting him, that's something that I find to be detestable. But as is my ability to dissect that part of Zim's reaction is not within reach, so it's best to just move on. But seriously though, to say this video's production was rough would be an understatement. Now for my final thoughts. Zim, I have absolutely nothing against you as a person. I'm pretty sure you're a decent guy overall, but your critique was really poor. Next time you critique someone else's work, at the very least try to listen. Don't just resort to shit-talking. I get that the whole Sam Mag section of the video may have tipped you off a bit, and yeah, it was very poorly done, but perhaps maybe watch the video before tackling it on a live stream? As for Bacon, well, I've seen many of your other videos and they are really good, but in this instance with the Sam Mag section, well, it's very clear that you thought a lot about how to handle it. I just think that you really should have reevaluated it, because there were a lot of cracks in that segment. And that's something you've acknowledged since you did remove it from the video. So, yeah. With everything done and said, hopefully this was a big step up from my Derek Savage video response I made 6 years ago. In the next Numen Strikes Back video, I will be tackling some bad Pac-Man takes from a guy whose name starts with the letter D. If you followed me for this long, you probably know who I'm referring to. Said video will come out either August or September. I'll also have plenty of more content coming out, including opinion pieces, reviews, rants, discussions, etc, etc, etc. Be sure to look forward to all of that. Not to mention, there's also the secret review, which is still in the works. Anyways, until next time, I will most definitely see you all later.